All right, they finally lifted the embargo. We can now talk about the Asus ProArt P16 in detail here for 2025. And to save you some time to let you know what I think, pretty much nailed it. There are a few things they can improve on that I want to see hopefully next year, but I think they improved everything I wanted to see year over year, and namely the display in particular. They moved to a Tandem OLED display with a peak brightness of 1600 nits. Pretty awesome. They also bumped up the refresh rate, 120 hertz. It's a variable refresh rate. So those are two of the things that I wanted to see particular to this display. They did a fantastic job on this laptop. I will say this is a creator's dream in a lot of ways. They could make it a little bit better, as we'll get into in this review, but for the most part, they nailed it. This thing is pretty awesome. Now, they also put in a 5090 GPU that's fed 130 watts of power. So it's not the full power of a 5090, and that makes sense, right? You're not going to be able to really get the thermals correct here in such a thin and light chassis. And speaking of the chassis, this thing is beautiful. Now we're talking about this nano black finish. The fingerprints will start to collect. They do a little bit better job on the oleophobic coating here. So they did a pretty decent job there. It's got a great keyboard here in terms of typing out documents, emails, and the like. It's got good tactility. Key travel's very good. The backlight works really well on this. So you can actually get a look at that over here. And that works really well. It's multi-stage, really good in that regard. Speakers are very good on this, so you're going to get some really nice immersive sound out of these speakers. Dolby Atmos to help with the spatial audio. And then, of course, the processor here is the same. So we're looking at Strix Point, the AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370. We've seen it before, and I'm actually a big fan of that processor. Maybe Strix Halo would have been better on this. Who knows? But again, I wasn't in the decision-making room, obviously. But this is very good. Upgradable storage on this, and that's going to be great. And, of course, a really nice camera here to round things out. So we're going to get into, I think this is the creator's dream here for 2025, doing Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing in Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is the Asus ProArt P16, brand new for 2025. Coming up. Now, we're going to start off with the build and design, and one thing you're going to see out of this, it's thin. It's pretty light for a 16-inch laptop, considering that this does have a 5090 in it, so it's really good in that regard. The build quality is rock solid. It's very Apple-esque, and of course, that is a compliment. The screen goes back as far as you see there. Like I said, the oleophobic coating is a little bit better, but you will notice some smudges, so still carry the cleaning cloth, not as bad as last year. Now, the overall build and sturdy design here is really rock solid. So if you're going to throw this around, it'll be good. I don't know if it's going to get a lot of scratches. Last year, I did have a couple of scratches on it after some few months of use, but this so far has held up really well. So the coating looks like it's pretty good on this. Now let's take a look at the ports on this laptop. Okay, so on the left side, you get your power port in. This is your proprietary port from Asus. We've seen it before. HDMI 2.1, USB 4.0. This is 40 gigabits per second. It's not Thunderbolt 5. Again, AMD-based laptop, so keep that in mind. You also get a USB Type A and a headphone jack right there to round out the left side. And moving over to the right side is a full-size SD card reader. And as a content creator, I certainly appreciate that. A USB Type A, the second one on this device, and a USB-C Type C. It's 3.2 Gen 2. So this is not Thunderbolt 4 or not USB 4, not 40 gigabits per second, but 10 gigabits per second. Wish that was Thunderbolt or USB 4, but we don't get that here. But good nonetheless. Port selection here is actually on point. All right, let's talk about the star of the show, and that would have to be this gorgeous Tandem OLED display. As you can see here, it is bright, it is sharp, it's got excellent coverage of the color gamut, it is color accurate. So if you're going to do content creation in Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing in Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, this is a display to do that. Now, it is a touchscreen display. It supports multi-touch. It also supports pen, and I'll absolutely love that here on this laptop here, because using the pen, and I have one right here, you can use this to sketch out diagrams, artwork, and the like. And I think that to me is pretty convenient, especially if you're going to sketch out diagrams and stuff. This will certainly get the job done. And having the pen. Now, I don't have the Asus Pen 2.0. They do offer that, but I'm using this HP Tilt pen that certainly worked fine. This is the one that I've been using. And again, it's not a convertible, but to have that feature, it's an added bonus in my book. So kudos to Asus for including that. Now, that was also, by the way, last year, they also had pen support. Now, let's talk about this display in more specifically. It now has 120 hertz variable refresh rate. So that means you're going to get that very smooth, very fluid experience. So that's going to be great for playing games on your downtime or just having that overall really rock solid smooth experience with this. And so far, that has been great. Now, as far as the display itself in terms of brightness, we're looking at a peak brightness of 1600 nits, standard dynamic range, super bright on this. So you're not going to have any issues indoor or outdoor as far as readability and as far as bright. You know, I love bright displays. This certainly fits the bill. Now, this is a tandem OLED display, which is an improvement over a standard OLED display, which will have less PWM. So they did a really good job in reducing the PWM, although not totally eliminating it in terms of screen flickering, but you'd have to go really low to see it. So that has been really good. And then as far as screen burn-in, obviously with any OLED, including tandem OLED, if you leave a static image long enough on the display, it might burn in. I haven't experienced it. Of course, I don't have it long enough to experience that. So that is the case. Now, this is very different than the mini LED you see on the MacBook Pro with the 16-inch display that I have here. And that mini LED is 120 hertz, as they call ProMotion. I actually prefer tandem OLED. I think the blacks are deeper, it's sharper, the colors just pop more. I'm a bigger fan of the tandem OLED than the mini LED, and I wish Apple would move to the tandem OLED. Hopefully next year we'll see that's the case, and maybe we'll even get a touchscreen while we're at it. But this display is absolutely gorgeous, and I think they did a bang-up job here. And they also have OLED care in there in terms of the settings, so that certainly helps out in terms of taking care of this display. It's great for watching movies, Netflix, Amazon, YouTube. HDR is fantastic on this. I have no complaints regarding this display. All right, now when it comes to battery, this actually did better than I expected. In fact, it got 10 hours on the PC Mark X Modern Office test. You're looking at about 8.5, 9 hours on video playback. Those were just some of the numbers I got on it. And again, with a tandem OLED, I wasn't expecting 20 hours of battery life. Not on this type of laptop, not with this display, with this type of brightness. Now, I ran it at 40% screen brightness, and I put it on the balance mode, and everything seemed to work okay on this in terms of that. So really, in terms of the battery, not bad. So I would say in real world usage, like I said, like many times before, everybody's use case is a little bit different, so your mileage may vary, but I would say a good 7 to 8 hours solid on this laptop on a single charge. Now, it just, of course, depends on what you're doing. Now, they do supply you with that 240 watt power charger. It's pretty slim in its own right. It uses the proprietary connection. You could also charge via the USB Type-C ports as well, although it will be a slower charge, obviously. And then, of course, I think the overall battery and charging on this has been very good. Now, when it comes to audio, you're looking at 6 speakers here, 2 tweeters, 4 woofers. It has Dolby Atmos to help with the spatial audio. I think they did a great job with the sound here. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Now, let's give it a listen. ProArt P16. MacBook Pro. Now let's talk performance here, and this is running the Strix Point, the AMD Ryzen AI9 HX370. We've seen it before, and you see from the single multi-core performance is what we'd expect from it. It's not going to be as good as the M4 Max with the MacBook Pro, my 16-inch that we can look at as the comparison. That's going to have better single and multi-core, even now with this 2025 model. But in real world usage, I don't think you're going to notice that much of a difference. And to be honest with you, this has been great doing things like video editing in DaVinci Resolve. I ran the Puget Bench DaVinci Resolve benchmark, and the results were certainly very good. I was able to edit 4K video, and then of course with the StoryCube and all that, I was able to import footage from the GoPro Max 2, that 360-degree camera. That worked well. So as far as the creative work, this is certainly good for Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing. Now, as far as the thermals, everything remained cool and calm on this. There was not anything overly hot. You'll notice that it never got too hot internally and when it was put under heavy load, so that's been pretty good. And the surface temperatures remained at bay, never getting overly hot. You could even use this on your lap without any issues. Fan noise was not much of an issue, although when you do put it under load, you will notice the fans kick in, but that's normal. I think that's what more par for the course. I will say that the MacBook Pro is much better when it comes to fan noise and hardly ever kicks in. I've only heard it once or twice in the year that I've had that MacBook Pro, so that has been the case with that. Let's talk graphics here, and this is another area where they've improved the graphics. In fact, they went to the RTX 5090 in this one, and I think the overall takeaway is with the graphics on this, it has been really good. Now, as far as the wattage, they're feeding this a total TGP, if I can get this over here. Yeah, 130 watts. That is going to be good. It's not the full potential, of course, of the 5090, but in such a thin and light chassis, I'm not surprised they went with the 130 watts. That being said, it's certainly good for doing video editing in Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve. I did the Puget benchmark, as I told you, as far as DaVinci Resolve is concerned, and doing gaming on your downtime, certainly capable. I wouldn't characterize this as a full-on gaming laptop, but it's not. It's geared towards creators. But with that 5090, with the Strix Point, I think you have an ability to use a good gaming experience. I have good gaming experience with frames per second and so forth. So that really good. It supports DLSS, so you can get even more frame rates for the overall experience. And having the 120 hertz UHD plus 4K plus display certainly helps in that regard. But of course, I'm using this more for creative work, and this certainly fits that bill. Now, another great feature of this, and I think Asus did a really good job, is a StoryCube. Now, they've teamed up with GoPro. They even sent me a GoPro, believe it or not, the GoPro Max 2, which of course is a 360-degree camera, GoPro camera. And I took it for some footage and I imported it into the StoryCube, and it's a nice seamless integration. So let's take a look at that and let me know what you think in the comments section below. All right, I am taking a look to see what kind of footage I can get here from 360 with this GoPro. This is the Max 2 360, and I'm gonna use it with the StoryCube on the Asus ProArt P16 here for 2025. It's got the RTX 5090, has some nice improvements when it comes to the graphics, and of course the display is now 120 hertz, Tandem OLED, 1600 nits, peak brightness, so could be pretty good. So let's head back and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, one of the benefits of the collaboration between GoPro and Asus is that you can import your GoPro footage into the StoryCube app, as I just showed you. So the My Asus app, and you go to import GoPro media library, you're immediately brought to the GoPro login. And then, of course, once you log in, as I'm going to log in right now just to demonstrate here, but of course, I don't want you to see my account. Once you're logged in, you then can go to the eligibility page and the subscription page for the GoPro and just confirm that. And there it is. There's the exclusive GoPro offer within the My Asus app. Now that's good until December 31st, 2027. Redeem it. And then, of course, you can go to that page and redeem it and get all the perks of having that collaboration between GoPro and Asus. So that is pretty cool. Now, once you're in the StoryCube app, you can download all of your footage. There is an import section here. It says GoPro Media, and then you can tag them. You can edit it in CapCut. You can edit it in Premiere Pro and so forth. Use the Asus dial as we talked about, and it is a really great seamless integration. I think they did a great job. Of course, if you're interested, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Head on over to the Asus website for more information. Now, to get inside this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 screws with rubber tabs that stick back in over these 2 screws here. Let's open it up and let's see what's inside. Now, these are, looks like T5 Torx screws, by the way. So let's get this open here. All right, there you can see it. It has vapor chamber cooling, as you can see there. 2 fans. We got a 90 watt-hour battery. And then, of course, you have open slots here for the SSD. Let's see here. We got one here. And then we have another one here. And then there's your Wi-Fi card right there. It's a Wi-Fi 7 combo card that is user serviceable. So that is good. And when it comes to storage, I actually have 4 terabytes on this. There are 2 SSD slots, user upgradable. And as you can see from the reads and writes, excellent here. So no complaints on that front. All right, one thing I want to point out is the indicator lights here, letting you know the device is powered on, charging, etc. But on the back, I don't know how useful that is, but I wanted to point that out that it is back there. So this is the camera on the Asus ProArt P16 here for 2025. It's IR. That means you can log in with face recognition. 1080p video. What do you think about the video quality? And what do you think about the array mics? How's the audio? Let me know. Now, it does have the background blur effects. Of course, you got the standard blur, you got the portrait blur, you got auto framing, all the studio effects are here. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments section below. All right, let's talk keyboard here. And the keyboard is actually one of my favorite parts of this laptop. Tactility, the overall feedback, the key travel has been very good. So I have no complaints on that front when it comes to the keyboard. And by the way, the keyboard has a really good backlight on it. So I just don't want to forget that. Now, touchpad wise, it's a very large touchpad. Now, one thing I was hoping that they would do is move to a haptic touchpad. That's not the case, although it's very responsive when it comes to scrolling and doing all the gestures. That has worked out really well. And just like last year, you now have the DialPad once again, and the upper right-hand corner, you swipe down and you activate it. And it's really good, especially if you're going to do like video editing in DaVinci Resolve Premiere Pro. It's certainly context specific. I think with the Premiere Pro and the Adobe suite of apps, they have some specific application there. You could change the volume. You can increase the brightness with the screen dial. It worked fine. So you don't have to use it, but it's there if you want to give it that little extra. And it was there last year. So good to see that it carried over here. The only thing I'd like to say is that, again, no haptic touchpad would have been a nice upgrade in an overall upgraded laptop here for 2025. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. All right, let's talk pricing here. And of course, all this great technology is going to come at a cost. This will come in at a whopping $39.99. But considering you're getting the Tandem OLED display, you're getting the RTX 5090, the Ryzen AI 9 HX370, and of course, 4 terabytes of SSD storage, you're going to pay the price, right? But they do have another model here that they're also offering here with the same display, but with the 5070 as opposed to the 5090, and that one has 2 terabytes of storage. So you're going to save some money, and that one comes in at $2799.99. So a little bit cheaper on that one. And I think the 5070 will be perfectly fine for a lot of you. I don't know if you necessarily are going to get the benefit of a 5090 in its full force on a thin and light chassis here. So to save some money, I would recommend a lot of you to maybe go to this model with the RTX 5070. Hopefully I can get one into review at some point. We can compare the two, but there is a quote unquote cheaper alternative, although it is still pretty expensive. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. All right, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Asus ProArt P16 here for 2025 with the RTX 5090? And I will say, you know what? It's looking pretty good here. I like what they did here as far as content creation. If you are a creator, you're definitely going to want to take advantage of that. The StoryCube really is a nice curation app on this that allows you to take, say, GoPro footage as I did and was able to turn it into something great in terms of the output. Great creator's laptop, no doubt about it, aided by the fact that you're getting such a high-end display, 120 hertz, variable refresh rate, Tandem OLED, 1600 nits in HDR, which is peak brightness, and of course, it's super bright. I love it. Now, it's a little glossy, of course, but it's not the worst. They put a pretty decent anti-reflective coating on it, so that's been pretty good. Battery is what we'd expect, 7 to 8 hours, I would say, in normal use, pretty much everyday use. Of course, your mileage may vary, of course, and you just keep that in mind. No Thunderbolt 5 or anything like that. You do get one USB 4.0 port. I would like 2 on here. The other one is a USB 3.2 Gen 2, so that's 10 gigabits per second. That's one area where I think they could improve on. Pricing obviously is going to be expensive here at $39.99 as configured. There is one for $2,800 with the RTX 5070, half the storage, but by the way, that has 64 gigabytes of memory. But my overall takeaway here is we're getting a very good creator's laptop. In fact, it's excellent and one of my favorites of 2025. I like the sleek nano black look here. I like the overall aesthetics. They can make a few tweaks for next year. I think this would be the almost perfect laptop, but they get pretty close here, and I think they did a great job here for 2025. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing, and if there's something out there you want me to review, I'll do my best to try to make that happen. If you're a casual viewer of my content, why not consider subscribing? It doesn't cost you anything. It helps support the channel as we're making our big push for 300,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You're going to buy something like the ProArt P16 as we showcased here today, check out the links in the description below. Yes, they are affiliate links. No, I do not get a huge commission. A small commission helps keep the lights on here in the studio. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.